The Lord told me my daughter was suffering from cancer, and the cancer had spread on her brain and her spine. The doctor gave her 3 months to live. The doctors in Uganda told her, if you leave her here, she would die anyway. Take her to UK. So we took her to UK. She was about 4.5 years. And I had been in ministry. I had seen miracle signs and wonders. I'd been with T.L. Osborne. I'd interpreted for him. I'd been on his platform. So I said, I know God's going to heal my daughter. But when the doctor told me that her brain tumor was growing at 60% a week, and she was losing her sight, and she was walking and falling, they told us there's nothing they can do. He said the tumor was on the back of her head, and they cannot operate. So they would just give her palliative medicine, and she would sleep, die in her sleep. I'm involved in healing ministry. Palliative medicine, and she would sleep, die in her sleep. I'm involved in healing ministry. That's who I am. I go all over the world and preach the gospel, see miracles. It's like the devil had walked naked in my house. I said, Lord, what can I do? The Lord said, give her Holy Communion. I said, what? I said, Holy Communion. He said, in the morning, lunchtime, and in evening. The Spirit of the Lord said to me, isn't that what the doctor said to the sick people? 2 tablets in the morning, 2 tablets lunchtime, 2 tablets. He said, Holy Communion in the morning, lunchtime, and in evening. So we gave her Holy Communion 3 times. In 7 days, her sight came back. She started walking straight. There is another side of God you don't know, devil. And so 7 neurosurgeons in Great Ormond Hospital in London gathered all together, and they called me and my wife. They said, come here. They said, you Africans, you have got herbal medicine. What have you been giving your daughter? We said, nothing. They said, no, tell us. What have you been giving your daughter? We want to know. We said, Holy Communion. They said, ha ha. They all laughed. We said, that's what we've been giving her. He said, you cannot tell. So they took the x-rays, the MRI scan, and they said the tumor shrunk from her brain and it stood aside by itself. And the doctor said, we don't know whether it's cancerous or not. We need to go in, remove it, and find out whether it's benign or whatever. I said, no problem. You can operate. They operated, they removed the tumor. They found it was cancerous. Now we start another battle. They said, well, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. And Pastor, God is a witness. My daughter, they started giving her all these kind of medicines. She's getting worse, getting worse, getting worse. And Pastor Bernard Price in Phoenix calls me. He said, Pastor Robert, my wife has been diagnosed with colon cancer. Where are you? Come and pray for my wife. And the Lord said, that is your medicine. So I told my wife, our daughter was very, very sick. We never thought that she would survive. She was neutropenic. There was nothing they could do. Her flesh was falling off. And so I told my wife, I said, I found medicine. It's in Phoenix, Arizona. She said, go get it. So I jumped on a plane and landed in Phoenix, prayed for Mrs. Price, rebuked the colon cancer, and I went back. Got on American Airlines, landed in Houston. And I went and saw Mama Dodie Osteen, the mother of Joel Osteen. And I said, my daughter is dying of cancer, but you survived cancer. We've been friends for a long time. I said, you survived cancer. I want you to agree with me. She said, God is going to heal your daughter. I said, bye. I caught a flight. I'm flying back to England. At that time, my daughter is really dying. But at 3 in the morning, I'm in the air. 3 in the morning, My wife is tired of taking care of her, so she does off. She has a nurse, 2 nurses taking care of her. Amazingly, the nurse said, let me go down there and get coffee. So this nurse goes. Another one said, they have called me home. My child is sort of fever. She also goes. So my wife remains alone. Another nurse walks in. She said, hello, Christiana, how are you? She told my wife, she said, don't worry, you can sleep. Immediately, my wife has not been sleeping because she knows her daughter is passing any time. All of a sudden, my wife sleeps. This nurse comes and says, you're fine. He removes all the tubes from her and says, you'll be fine. So she walks out. When she walked out, the other nurse comes. She wakes my wife and said, are you crazy? How could you do this? This guy, who pulled the tubes? My wife said, the other nurse. The other nurse came and pulled the tubes out. She said, who? You mean this one? So she goes down to the doctor's office to complain. And that's when Christiana wakes up. She said, Mom, where is Dad? I land at Gatwick, get a cab, drive straight to central London, arrive there, and my daughter is seated. And the cancer is gone. There is another side of God the devil doesn't know. There is another side of God the devil does not know. You may be seated.